Have you ever, made a plan to completely change your entire life on a Sunday night, only to just give up and be completely back to your old bad habits by Tuesday afternoon?
Oh, absolutely. Everyone does it.
Right. But what if the problem isn't that you are weak or, lazy, but simply that your strategy is fundamentally broken?
Exactly.
What if learning English, or really building any new habit for that matter, isn't about this massive Herculean willpower, but just about making that very first step slightly less annoying?
That is the exact question we are answering today. And today we are going to master 6 advanced, really powerful vocabulary words, analyze 4 critical mindset shifts for self-improvement, and we're going to break down 5 real-life conversational phrases to completely reframe your thinking.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so that is a total of 15 crucial learning points that will literally change how you set up your daily routines, starting the absolute minute you finish listening.
I love that. Welcome to our English learning deep dive for daily life, real conversation, and easy listening practice. If you are a B1, B2, or C1 learner looking to not just improve your speaking, but, build better confidence, better habits, and better follow through in your real everyday life, well, this is exactly for you.
It really is.
We are going to completely bypass the boring textbook grammar today and dive straight into the actual psychology of how you get yourself to practice.
Yeah, our mission today is extremely clear. We are going to explore how to actually change your life and learn English in a much kinder, smarter, and neurologically sound way.
Right.
I mean, we are not talking about change in a dramatic, totally unrealistic, delete every app on your phone, throw your television into a dumpster and buy a completely new $300 planner kind of way.
No, definitely not.
We are talking about change that actually fits into a normal life. And let's be honest, a normal life is inevitably filled with exhausted evenings, bad moods, maybe crying kids, demanding bosses, and highly distracting phones that are literally specifically engineered to steal your attention.
Exactly. And I want to speak directly to you, the listener, right now. If you have struggled with keeping your promises to yourself, if you have, say, downloaded 5 different language apps and abandoned all of them, I really need you to hear something incredibly important right now. You are not broken.
No, not at all.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with your character. Your system is just not helping you yet, and we are going to fix that today. And because, this is an active learning experience, I want to encourage you to speak out loud during this deep dive.
Yes, please do.
When we introduce a new phrase, I want you to literally say it out loud wherever you are, in your car, walking the dog, cooking dinner. You have to engage those vocal cords.
It's so important. It is the defining difference between passive listening, which is just, entertainment, and active mastery, which is actual education. We are going to guide you through every single step, and we're going to give you the exact vocabulary you need to actually articulate this journey.
Right. But before we get into the actual actionable strategies of success, we have to talk about the disaster of the Sunday night plan.
Oh, boy.
And why it usually only survives for exactly 36 hours. Okay, so let's unpack this.
Ah, yes, the infamous Sunday night plan. I mean, it is a nearly universal human experience, isn't it? It spans across all cultures and all languages.
It really does. Let's just set the scene, because honestly, I have lived this so many times.
Me too.
It's Sunday evening, the weekend is over, you are feeling a slight sense of regret about how much junk food you ate, maybe how much TV you watched, and you decide it's finally time to get serious.
Time to change everything.
Exactly. You are sitting down at your desk. You have a brand new, very expensive leather notebook, a new gel pen that writes perfectly, and you have this very serious, highly determined look on your face. You are making a plan to change absolutely everything at once.
Oh, yeah.
You tell yourself, okay, starting tomorrow, I am going to wake up at 5 a.m., I am going to run 5 kilometers. I will drink a green smoothie. I am going to study English grammar for a solid hour. I will read a dense nonfiction book, and I am going to magically become this incredibly calm, Zen-like person who just, sits and drinks herbal tea by a sunlit window.
It sounds so beautiful.
It does.
But the core problem is that is just not a realistic life plan.
Yeah.
What you are describing there is essentially a movie trailer.
A movie trailer. Oh, wow. That is exactly what it feels like. It has a dramatic soundtrack in your head and perfect lighting and everything.
Right. See, what you are looking for in that Sunday night moment isn't gradual improvement. You are looking for a transformation.
Transformation.
Yeah, let's look at that word really closely, especially for our B2 learners listening. A transformation is not a minor tweak. It's not a small adjustment. It is a complete, profound change in form, appearance, or character.
Like a caterpillar.
Exactly. When a caterpillar completely dissolves inside a chrysalis and emerges as a totally different butterfly, that is a transformation. It is total. And on Sunday night, our ego doesn't want to just be, 5% better at English. We want to be a completely different, perfectly fluent person. We want a total transformation, and we demand it immediately.
Right. And we get a massive hit of dopamine just from writing the list up.
Just for the fantasy of it.
Yes. The funny thing is, Monday morning usually actually goes pretty well. You do wake up at 5 a.m., mostly just running on pure adrenaline. Yeah. You drink the terrible green smoothie. You force yourself through those grammar exercises.
Because you're still excited.
Exactly. And as you walk into work, you think to yourself, this is it. I have cracked the code. I am now a completely different person. You feel incredibly optimistic.
Well, yeah, because on Monday morning, the motivation is still very fresh, the excitement of that movie trailer is still playing in your mind, and your energy reserves are totally full after the weekend. But then the inevitable happens.
Oh, no.
The sun sets, you sleep poorly, and you wake up the next day.
Tuesday. The truth day.
Tuesday is ruthless.
It really is.
Tuesday always reveals the absolute truth about your system.
Tuesday destroys everything. Let's talk about how the collapse actually happens, because it's usually this terrible domino effect.
Walk us through it.
Okay, so by Tuesday morning, you are exhausted from waking up so early on Monday. When the 5 below a.m. alarm goes off, your brain just says, hey, we need sleep to survive, so you smash the snooze button.
Naturally.
Right, and because you slept late, you skip the morning run. Because you skip the run, you feel a little flash of guilt. Because you feel guilty, you want a quick distraction, so you open your phone while drinking your coffee to just, check the news for a second.
Just 1 second.
Famous last words. Suddenly, 45 minutes have passed, you are scrolling endlessly through social media, and you are late for work.
The English study session never even stood a chance.
Exactly. You tell yourself, well, the morning is already ruined, the streak is completely broken, I will just restart tomorrow.
And then tomorrow becomes Wednesday, and Wednesday becomes next week, and next week becomes maybe as a New Year's resolution.
Spot on. And before you know it, that beautiful, expensive new notebook is completely buried under a massive pile of grocery receipts, mail, and old coffee cups. And you are right back to your old routine, actively pretending the notebook does not exist, because looking at it makes you feel so bad.
It hurts to look at it.
Yes. The transformation lasted exactly 36 hours.
This cycle is just incredibly common, and it highlights a massive gap in our abilities. Specifically, it highlights a lack of follow-through.
Ooh, follow-through. Let's break that down.
Yes, let's focus deeply on this essential phrasal verb, to follow through. Follow through means actually executing what you plan to do, completing an action, or fulfilling a promise.
Okay.
It actually originally comes from sports, like golf or tennis, where you have to continue the physical swing of the club or racket even after you have hit the ball. If you don't follow through, the ball just doesn't go where you want it to.
That makes so much sense.
In life, follow through is the bridge between the Sunday night plan and the Tuesday reality.
It is the difference between an intention and an actual action. I really love that sports analogy. If I just hit the tennis ball and stop my racket dead, it loses absolutely all its power. Could you give our B2 and C1 listeners a few nuanced examples of how to use follow-through in, say, daily or professional conversation?
Absolutely. In a corporate or professional context, you might say, she makes a lot of grand visionary promises in our strategy meetings, but she rarely follows through on the actual execution.
Oh, we all know a coworker like that.
Right. Or, relating specifically to language learning, you could say, my biggest barrier isn't understanding English grammar rules, it's my lack of follow-through on my daily speaking practice. Notice that it functions as both a verb phrase, to follow through, and a hyphenated noun, having good follow-through.
This is the perfect moment for you, our listener, to jump in. Next time you are alone in the car, or even right now if you are just walking around the house doing chores, I want you to practice the physical muscle memory of this phrase.
Get those vocal cords moving.
Yes. Try saying this out loud right now. I want to improve my follow-through. I'll give you a second.
Go ahead.
Did you say it? Speaking it out loud trains the muscles in your mouth to get comfortable with the rhythm of English phrasal verbs, which native speakers use constantly.
It is such an excellent habit to build, because if you want better conversational English, you actually need better follow-through on these tiny, seemingly insignificant speaking exercises.
Exactly. And speaking of good habits, if you are already relating to this Tuesday Truth Day feeling, Take a second right now to like, share, and subscribe to this channel so you never miss a deep dive.
It really helps.
It takes one click. It literally signals to your brain that you are actively engaging with English, and it genuinely helps us keep bringing you these real-life conversational lessons.
So when Tuesday inevitably destroys our big, dramatic movie trailer plans, what do we usually tell ourselves? We usually bypass logic entirely and go straight to a vicious emotional attack. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, this is where the dark side of self-improvement comes out. When the plan fails, when we hit the snooze button and skip the vocabulary flashcards, the immediate reaction is almost never to sit down and calmly analyze the logistics of the plan.
Rarely.
Right. The immediate reaction is to analyze ourselves, to attack our own character.
This is a crucial pivot point in behavioral psychology.
You sit there on Tuesday evening, completely surrounded by the ruins of your grand plan, and you say, I am just weak. I have absolutely no discipline. I have zero willpower. I am a lazy person. And then you just sit there in a puddle of self-blame, feeling completely defeated, maybe eating a bag of chips.
And here is a profound insight that it's believed many top psychologists and cognitive behavioral experts completely agree on. Many people mistakenly think self-blame is the exact same thing as self-improvement.
Wait, I really want to challenge that.
Go for it.
Because honestly, sometimes guilt feels like the only thing that actually works. If I'm not hard on myself, won't I just become completely complacent? Isn't feeling guilty a sign that I actually care about my goals?
That is a brilliant pushback, and honestly, it's a trap almost everyone falls into.
Really?
Yeah, we use guilt as a tool because it feels productive.
Yeah.
We genuinely believe that if we are harsh enough with ourselves, if we mentally punish ourselves by calling ourselves lazy or saying I always fail, we are somehow doing the heavy lifting of getting better.
Like we're paying a fine.
Exactly. We think self-flagellation pays the toll for our failure. But biologically, it does the exact opposite.
What do you mean biologically?
When you attack your identity, when you say I am lazy, it triggers a massive stress response in your body. It floods your system with cortisol. And more importantly, it sounds so incredibly final.
Final, yeah.
When you attach a failure to your core identity, it sounds like the story is already finished, the book is closed, and there is nothing you can do about it. If you are a lazy person, why even try on Wednesday?
It is not a strategy. It is a character assassination.
Wow.
And that shuts down the prefrontal cortex, which is the logical problem-solving part of your brain.
That is completely fascinating. So it feels like you are being responsible by feeling guilty, but guilt doesn't actually change the mechanics of the behavior. It just makes you feel heavy and paralyzed.
Precisely. Let's do a vocabulary deep dive right here, focusing on two really important B2 and C1 level words that represent this conflict: willpower versus strategy. I hear the word willpower constantly in the self-help space.
Yeah.
How should we accurately define it, and why exactly is it so problematic?
Okay, so willpower is the conscious mental strength to control yourself, your impulses, and your actions, especially when things are hard, exhausting, or heavily tempting. It is your internal resistance mechanism.
Got it.
For example, you might say, my willpower is extremely weak when someone brings fresh donuts into the office.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I tried to study advanced English grammar for 3 hours after a really long workday, but I just didn't have the willpower.
Right. The classic cliche is that willpower is like a battery. It drains over the day and runs out by the evening.
Yes, and I want to twist that cliche just a bit to make it more accurate. Willpower is like a smartphone battery, but relying on it to change your whole life is like taking that smartphone out into the freezing snow.
Oh, it dies immediately.
Exactly. It drains 10 times faster than you think it will. In psychology, there is a concept often discussed called ego depletion. Every single decision you make during the day, what to wear, how to respond to an annoying email, navigating stressful traffic, all of it drains that battery. By Tuesday night, the battery isn't just low, it's completely dead.
Which brings us to the second word, the actual antidote: strategy.
Strategy. Let's break down the syllables for pronunciation. Strategy.
Yeah.
Strategy.
Listener, try saying that with us. Strategy. Strategy. Make sure you get that rhythm.
Perfect. So a strategy is a clear, calculated, long-term plan or method for reaching a goal. It is not about raw mental strength or forcing yourself through pain. It is about intelligent design.
Intelligent design.
It is the architectural blueprint of your day. For instance, you might say, I need a better strategy for practicing conversational English, because just staring at a textbook until my eyes hurt simply isn't working.
Strategy. It is such an important word, not just in business, but in personal development. And for our listeners, it's crucial to understand that B2 and C1 fluency isn't just about knowing the word. It's about understanding its nuance. A strategy is much bigger than a tactic.
How so?
Well, a tactic is a short-term action, like using flashcards. A strategy is the overarching ecosystem you build to ensure you actually pick up the flashcards in the first place.
Exactly. That's a great distinction. The crucial shift we need to make is moving entirely away from the exhausting, punishing language of willpower and moving toward the calm, analytical language of strategy. It is believed that the fundamental problem is not a lack of willpower. You are not inherently lazy.
That's such a relief to hear.
The problem is that your Sunday night plan was simply too massive, too vague, and way too heavy. You were relying 100% on a battery that was destined to freeze and die, and when it did on Tuesday, the whole system collapsed.
So, if willpower is a freezing battery, and we know our old system of making huge, dramatic plans is completely broken, how do we actually build a system that works? Because I want one. It starts with a very dangerous sentence we all say, doesn't it?
It does. But to understand how to build a working system, we first need to define what a system actually is in this context, because it's a word that can cause some confusion.
Yeah, when I hear the word system, I immediately think of complex computer networks or rigid corporate structures or, government bureaucracy. It sounds very cold and mechanical.
It does sound like a very serious, dry word.
Yeah.
But in daily life, your system is simply the reality of how your life is currently set up. By default, it is the invisible architecture of your day.
Invisible architecture.
Yes, your schedule, your morning commute where you physically place your phone at night, when you drink your coffee, the alarms you set, the exact route you walk your dog. Your system is the collection of your daily automated behaviors.
So my system is basically just the water I'm swimming in every day without even realizing it. Which brings us to the absolute most dangerous sentence for English learners. I hear this all the time from extremely smart, capable adults. They say, I really want to improve my speaking. I'm going to practice when I have time.
Oh, that is a lethally dangerous sentence for any goal.
Why is it so dangerous? I mean, it sounds completely reasonable.
Because when I have time usually means never. Time is not something you suddenly just have lying around in a pile, especially in modern adult life.
That's true.
Time is a vacuum. It will always fill itself with whatever is loudest or easiest. If you don't assign a specific designated place for a new habit inside your existing system, the chaotic, busy nature of your Tuesday will simply swallow it up.
It just disappears.
Completely. Saying when I have time relies on the desperate hope that eventually you will feel both highly motivated and completely unoccupied simultaneously. And let's be real, that combination almost never happens in reality.
So what is the actual strategy? What is the antidote to when I have time?
The antidote is creating small, hyper-specific triggers within your existing daily system. Instead of, I'll practice when I have time, the new strategy becomes, after I finish eating breakfast while I'm washing my coffee cup, I will practice speaking English out loud for exactly 5 minutes.
Okay, I have to push back hard on this.
I thought you might.
5 minutes. Honestly, 5 minutes feels completely useless. If I'm a B1 learner and I desperately want to reach C1 fluency, if I want that transformation to get a big promotion at work, 5 minutes feels like an insult to my ambition. It feels like I'm not doing anything at all.
I completely understand that feeling. It feels profoundly insignificant. It bruises the ego. But here is the critical neurobiological principle. Small is easier to repeat.
Okay.
And repeated. Consistent action matters exponentially more to your brain's neuroplasticity than one huge, exhausting 3-hour effort that you only do once a month. You are trying to build the physical neural pathways of the habit first. You have to build a habit of doing the thing before you worry about doing the thing perfectly.
That makes sense.
And it is important to remember that almost all highly useful things in adult life are slightly annoying in the moment.
Wait, expand on that. Useful things are annoying.
Yes. Think about it. Eating a salad when you really want French fries is slightly annoying.
Very annoying.
Turning off the television to go to sleep early is slightly annoying. Replying to a difficult work email is slightly annoying. And doing 5 minutes of active English speaking practice when your brain is tired is slightly annoying. But a 5-minute annoyance is manageable. You can talk yourself into 5 minutes.
Right.
A 2-hour grammar study plan on a Tuesday evening isn't annoying. It is a massive mountain that your exhausted brain will absolutely refuse to climb.
That is such a powerful, stabilizing concept. You have to start smaller than your pride wants.
Exactly. Your pride is the enemy of your consistency. Start smaller than your pride wants.
I love exploring this because my pride is huge when it comes to goals.
Oh, we all have that.
My pride wants a 2-hour study session with 5 different color highlighters and a perfectly organized mahogany desk. But my real messy life needs 10 minutes of reviewing vocabulary on my phone while waiting for the bus.
Yes.
My pride wants to speak perfect, flawless, accent-free English with 0 grammatical mistakes in front of my boss. But my real life just needs me to say one brave, slightly imperfect sentence in a meeting today just to build my confidence. My pride wants a completely new, hyper-productive personality, but my real life just needs a repeatable, slightly annoying daily routine that I actually stick to.
Beautifully said. This perfectly highlights the concept of a barrier. Let's do another vocabulary deep dive into this essential B2 level word.
Okay. I know a barrier is something that physically blocks you, like a fence or a roadblock on the street, but how do we use it in the context of psychology and language learning?
Metaphorically, a barrier is the specific friction that prevents you from executing your habit. If your goal is the destination, the barrier is the wall standing directly in your way. But barriers can be external or internal.
Give me a real-world example of both so we can really picture it.
Sure. An internal barrier might be, my crippling fear of making a mistake in front of native speakers is my biggest barrier when I try to speak English.
That's a huge one.
It is. Now, an external barrier would be a lack of a quiet space in my small apartment is a barrier to my evening listening practice. Identifying the exact nature of your barrier is the absolute first step in adjusting your strategy. If the barrier to studying is that your 2-hour plan takes way too much time and energy, the strategic adjustment must be to lower the barrier by making it take significantly less time.
Okay, so you've lowered the barrier, you've swallowed your pride, you've set your tiny 5-minute goal, you've identified your daily triggers, but then, out of nowhere, you're sitting on your couch and suddenly you are watching a 40-minute video on your phone of a man building a swimming pool in a jungle using only his bare hands and some mud.
The classic trap.
Why do we do this? What is actually happening in their brains when we detour like that?
Now we are stepping into the incredibly fascinating psychology of self-sabotage. Why do we avoid the exact things we genuinely, deeply want to achieve? We are talking about 2 massive behavioral forces here: procrastination and impulsivity.
Oh, I am so excited to dive into this because I have an absolute world-class talent for delaying things.
Most of us do.
I delay responding to text messages from my best friends. I delay filling out boring administrative forms. I delay my exercise. I will literally start scrubbing my kitchen floors and organizing my spice rack alphabetically just to delay making a 5-minute phone call.
You are describing classic procrastination. Let's really break down this C1 level term because it is wildly misunderstood. Procrastination is the act of intentionally delaying or postponing something important, even though you know you shouldn't do it, and you fully know there will be negative consequences later.
But wait, let me play devil's advocate for a second. Isn't procrastination just a fancy academic word for being lazy?
Absolutely not, and that is a massive, highly damaging misconception. Procrastination is almost never about laziness. It is actually an issue of emotional regulation.
Emotional regulation. Explain that.
Procrastination is driven by the brain's threat detection center, the amygdala. When you think about a task like studying advanced English grammar or calling that friend, if the task is confusing, vague, or tied to a deep fear of failure, your amygdala registers it as an emotional threat.
A threat, like a physical danger.
Yes. It causes a mild fight or flight response. Your brain says this task makes us feel stupid or anxious or overwhelmed. We need to escape this negative emotion immediately. So you retreat to a safe, familiar, highly controllable action like organizing your spice rack. You aren't lazy. You are managing anxiety poorly.
Wow. That completely shifts the paradigm. It's not that I'm too lazy to dial the phone, it's that the emotional weight of the task, the confusion of what to even say feels too heavy. The brain doesn't like confusion, so it chooses the spice rack. Can you give our listeners a few C1 level contextual examples of how to actually use the word procrastination in a sentence?
Certainly. In a professional setting, you could say, I need to develop a strategy to deal with my chronic procrastination before the project deadline gets dangerously close.
Good.
Or, maybe talking about a colleague, her tendency toward perfectionism is the root cause of her procrastination, and it's becoming a major barrier to her career advancement.
That makes total sense. Perfectionism causes fear. Fear causes procrastination. But what about the other side of the coin? What about when I have my notebook open? I am finally ready to study, but my smartphone is just sitting there, existing very suspiciously on the edge of the table.
Calling your name.
Right. And I think I'll just check my messages for 1 minute to clear my head, and then an hour later, I am watching the jungle swimming pool video.
That is impulsivity. This is our next crucial C1 word. While procrastination is running away from a negative emotion, impulsivity is running toward a quick, unearned hit of dopamine. Impulsivity is acting quickly based on a sudden, intense desire for a now reward, without any logical thought about the long-term results or consequences. Procrastination is avoiding the hard thing. Impulsivity is being violently pulled toward the easy, immediately rewarding thing.
Right. I actually did want to study English. My intention was pure, but the phone offered a quick, zero-effort reward right now. And the app designers literally engineer it to trigger that impulsivity.
They absolutely do.
How do we use impulsivity naturally in a sentence?
You might say, I am trying to control my impulsivity when I shop online late at night because my credit card bill is getting completely out of hand. Or, in a social context, his impulsivity in meetings often leads him to interrupt people before they have a chance to finish their thoughts.
So if impulsivity is constantly pulling me toward my glowing phone screen, and procrastination is constantly pushing me away from my difficult textbook, what is the actual actionable advice here? How do I win against my own neurobiology?
The actionable advice is highly counterintuitive. Don't rely on willpower to fight your impulsivity. Instead, work with it.
Work with it.
Yes. Your brain is craving a quick dopamine reward. You cannot just turn off that craving. Instead of denying yourself rewards entirely, you strategically connect a quick, guaranteed reward to your good, slightly annoying habit. In behavioral economics, this is called temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling. Okay, I need a massive deep dive on this. How exactly does bundling a temptation work?
It's simple, but powerful. You take a want, something you crave and enjoy, and you literally tie it to a should, the habit you need to build. Let's look at a few diverse examples. If you love listening to a highly entertaining true crime podcast, you make a strict rule. You are only allowed to listen to it while you are walking outside or at the gym.
Oh, wow.
The want, the podcast, is bundled with the should, the exercise.
That's brilliant. What about for boring chores around the house?
If you hate folding laundry, but you love a specific reality TV show, you are only allowed to watch the show while folding. The dopamine from the TV show actually transfers over to the act of folding clothes.
And how do we apply this directly to language learning for our listeners?
Let's say you are struggling with your 5-minute daily English speaking practice. It feels dry and annoying. You bundle it. You buy a very specific, high-quality, delicious coffee or a fancy tea that you genuinely love. You are only allowed to drink that specific beverage while you sit down for your 5-minute English practice.
I like this plan.
Your brain quickly starts to associate the previously annoying English practice with the warm, comforting reward of the tea. It softens the barrier. You are negotiating with your amygdala. You are telling your brain, yes, we have to do this slightly difficult cognitive task, but look, we get this amazing dopamine hit at the exact same time. It completely stops feeling like a punishment.
I love that. You basically engineer your environment so doing the right thing feels good immediately, not just 10 years from now when you finally get a certificate.
Yep.
So we've made the habit incredibly small to bypass procrastination, and we've added a bundled reward to handle the impulsivity. But what happens when you are halfway through a highly stressful week, the fancy tea isn't working, you are exhausted, and you still just want to quit? This raises an important question about who exactly is watching you.
It raises the fundamental question of whether you are operating your life in secret or in the open.
Okay, I have a major confession to make here.
Uh-oh.
I usually make all my big life plans completely in secret. If I decide I'm going to learn a new language or start a new business, I do not tell a single soul.
From a psychological standpoint, why do you think you do that?
Because if I fail, nobody knows. I can quietly give up on Tuesday afternoon, and I don't have to face any external embarrassment. I don't have to explain myself to my friends. It feels emotionally much, much safer to keep my goals locked inside my own head.
It definitely feels safer emotionally because it completely protects your ego. But it is a statistically terrible strategy for actually achieving the goal. When you operate in a vacuum, failure is just way too easy. And this is where we introduce the concept of accountability.
Accountability. That sounds like a really heavy, intimidating corporate word. What does it actually mean for our daily, messy habits?
Accountability simply means being responsible for your actions. And crucially, it means having someone else help you stay on your designated track. It is the condition of being held answerable to another human being. When you operate in secret, it is incredibly easy to quit because the only person you are letting down is yourself.
And we let ourselves down all the time.
Exactly. And let's be honest, we are all world-class experts at making sophisticated excuses for ourselves. But when you have accountability, your private wish becomes a public promise.
But accountability can feel terrifying. It feels like judgment. It feels like having a strict teacher standing over your shoulder waiting for you to mess up.
That is a very common, but totally misplaced fear. Toxic accountability is shaming. Good accountability should be kind, analytical, and supportive. It shouldn't be someone pointing a finger at you screaming, "You failed again, you are horrible, you have no willpower."
Right.
Good accountability sounds like a trusted friend casually asking, "Hey, did you get your 5 minutes of practice today? What got in your way?" It is designed to keep you connected to your original intention, not to punish you.
I think we need to actually model this for our listeners. Let's provide a framework for how to talk to an accountability partner in English. Let's learn a specific B2 level phrase to handle failure gracefully.
I think that's a great idea. The phrase is, actually, I struggled with some procrastination today, but I'm going to adjust my strategy for tomorrow.
Notice how completely brilliant that sentence is. It is brutally honest, it uses our high-level vocabulary, but most importantly, it ends on a positive strategic note. It doesn't say, "I am a failure." It says, "The strategy needs an adjustment."
Exactly. It removes the shame entirely and replaces it with data.
Next time you're talking to a language partner, or even just checking in with yourself in the mirror, I want you to use this structure. Listener, try saying it right now. I'll pause. Actually, I struggled with some procrastination today, but I'm going to adjust my strategy for tomorrow.
Say it out loud.
Having that sentence ready in your mental toolkit is so much better than just feeling guilty and ghosting your study partner entirely.
Which brings us perfectly to our next major psychological exercise. We need to talk deeply about how we reframe the harsh, abusive things we say to ourselves inside our own heads. This is our Say It Better reframing exercise.
I desperately need this. The English sentences that loop in my head when I fail at something are terrible. They are so mean and unhelpful.
Language shapes your reality. The words you use dictate your neurochemistry. If you use harsh, final language to describe a temporary setback, you will physically feel defeated. So, we're going to change 5 harsh internal sentences to be more honest, natural, and kind.
Okay, let's go through them. Give me the first old, harsh sentence.
The old sentence is, "I have no willpower."
Oh, I say that all the time when I eat a late-night snack. How do I say it better?
The new sentence is, "I'm relying too much on willpower." Do you feel the massive shift in perspective there?
Wow, yeah.
You are not fundamentally broken. Your system is just leaning too heavily on a highly limited, exhaustible resource. You need a system that relies on triggers and habits, not just brute mental strength.
I'm relying too much on willpower. That feels so much more analytical and less emotional. It gives me a problem to solve rather than a flaw to mourn. What's the next one?
The old sentence is, "I always fail."
Ouch! Very dramatic, very movie trailer mentality.
The new sentence is, "My old strategy hasn't worked yet." This completely changes the failure from a fatal character flaw to a simple mechanical problem. It isn't you that failed, it was the blueprint that failed.
Yeah.
And the powerful addition of the word "yet" implies that an inevitable solution is coming.
My old strategy hasn't worked yet. I absolutely love that. Third phrase.
The old sentence, "Something always stops me."
That is so vague. It makes you feel like a completely helpless victim of a hostile universe.
Precisely. It removes all your agency. The new sentence is, "I need to understand my barrier." Instead of being a helpless victim, you become an active detective.
A detective, I like that.
What exactly is the obstacle? Is it a lack of time? Is it a fear of judgment? Is the textbook too boring? Name the barrier clearly, and you can dismantle it.
I need to understand my barrier. Give it a name to take its power away. Okay, phrase number 4.
Old sentence, "I can't control myself."
That one sounds completely hopeless and desperate.
The new sentence is much more precise and scientifically accurate. "I struggle with impulsivity when I'm tired."
Oh, that is incredibly specific. I struggle with impulsivity when I'm tired. It diagnoses the exact behavioral problem impulsivity, and the exact environmental condition that causes it, being tired. It means if I get more sleep, I will have less impulsivity.
Exactly. Gives you back the control. And the final old sentence, I keep delaying everything. I'm so lazy.
And the new, better way to say it,
I'm dealing with procrastination. It changes the action from a permanent core part of your personality to a temporary external condition you are actively managing. You are dealing with it, like a professional deals with a complicated project.
Let's review those 5 new phrases really quickly. Listener, try to lock these into your memory because they will absolutely save you on a Tuesday night. Number 1, I'm relying too much on willpower. Number 2, my old strategy hasn't worked yet. Number 3, I need to understand my barrier. Number 4, I struggle with impulsivity when I'm tired. And number 5, I'm dealing with procrastination.
Perfect. If you replace your harsh internal monologues with these clinical objective sentences, your entire mindset shifts from punishment to problem solving.
Which leads us directly to the ultimate goal of all of this, doesn't it?
It does. We can synthesize this entire deep dive, all 15 learning points, into one core life-changing philosophy. The ultimate goal of setting a system, the goal of learning B2 English, the goal of building any habit, it isn't to be perfect. Perfection is a toxic myth that directly causes procrastination.
Then what is the true goal?
The true goal is simply to become someone who returns.
Someone who returns. That is remarkably beautiful. What does that actually look like in the grit of daily life?
Someone who returns is the person who has an absolutely terrible, catastrophic Tuesday. They sleep in, they eat the junk food, they scroll on their phone for an hour, they completely skip the English study session, and they feel terrible about it.
We've all been there.
But instead of waking up on Wednesday and saying, I have no willpower, I always fail, I quit, they look at Wednesday morning and say, my old strategy hasn't worked yet. My barrier was exhaustion. I'm going to adjust.
They adjust.
Yes. They return to the practice. They start again after missing a lesson. They lower the barrier to 2 minutes. They adjust the strategy instead of attacking themselves. True resilience isn't never failing. Resilience is just returning over and over again with a slightly kinder, slightly smarter plan.
If you can cultivate that mindset, if you can become someone who inevitably returns, you are completely unstoppable. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to come back to the desk.
As we draw this extensive discussion to a close, I want to leave you, our listener, with a final, very provocative thought to really mull over this week. We've talked deeply about behavioral strategies, neurobiology, and messy reality. So I want you to ask yourself this tough question about your current goals. If your plan to learn English only works on days when you feel 100% motivated, fully energized, highly caffeinated, and completely fearless, is it actually a strategy designed for your real life? Or is it a strategy designed for a fictional character in a movie?
Wow, that hits incredibly hard. A strategy for a fictional character. We constantly design plans for superheroes, but we need strategies for our messy, tired, very human real lives.
Exactly. You must design for your worst days, not just your best ones.
Now, it is your turn. We have given you the psychological tools, we've broken down the vocabulary, but you have to take the physical action to solidify the learning. Go down to the comment box right now and write one key word or idiom we explored deeply today. Write down barrier or strategy or follow through or impulsivity or procrastination. Typing it out physically cements it in your brain's memory center. And to make a public accountability promise to yourself right here in our community, I want you to write exactly this phrase in the comments right now. I am consistent.
Typing that simple phrase, I am consistent, is your very first act of small, positive follow-through today. Do not procrastinate on it.
We also really want your feedback. Tell us how this kinder, smaller strategy works for you this week. And let us know what kind of topic you want next deep dive. What specific communication barriers are you struggling with? We read the comments and we build these deep dives specifically to solve your problems.
Your feedback provides the real-world data that helps us improve the system.
And hey, if you like this deep dive, give us some hype, hit that like button. It helps the channel grow and reach more learners. Also, if you want to read an amazing, highly detailed article about learning English to pair with this audio, go into the description box right now. I have provided a special link. If you subscribe just once through that link, you will receive a free English article directly in your email, completely for free, every single time we release one. It is fantastic reading practice to bundle with your new habits.
It is a phenomenal way to combine reading with your listening practice, reinforcing the vocabulary across different mediums.
And remember, if you enjoyed this deep dive experience, there are many more deep dives and English lessons right here on my channel. Go check them out. build a playlist, and binge watch your favorites to keep leveling up your listening skills while you fold your laundry or walk the dog.
Continuous relaxed immersion is a highly effective, low-barrier strategy.
Oh, and as promised, here is your quick bonus tip for the day. Never, ever throw away the entire goal just because one specific plan fails. If your plan was to study for 30 minutes and your Tuesday reality proved that to be too much, don't abandon the goal of learning English. Just ruthlessly change the plan to 5 minutes, adjust the system, lower the barrier, but never abandon the ultimate goal.
Be the person who returns.
Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us today. Take care of your English and take care of the life you are slowly, steadily building. Keep practicing, keep adjusting your strategy, and we'll catch you next time.